everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So working some more on the main link here in the center. I'm working a bit from the bottom up for this part of the diagonal. Just the way the colors are running and such, that kind of makes sense to me, so I'll probably be skipping up and down a little bit. It's sunny here, but darn cold. It's definitely a day to hibernate and stitch. Okay. Yeah, so this pass I'm doing 70 rows instead of my normal 60. That way my last pass across this pattern will be 62 rows. So kind of had to do the 10 extra rows somewhere, so I decided to do it across this middle pass because I find when you get to the bottom there's more fabric at the top, of course, and that makes it a little harder to fit more rows in that way. Especially too when it's fabric that's been stitched on. Oops. I see. I thought it didn't mark, but it just took a little longer to register. Yeah, I probably should have restarted my tablet before starting today's stitching session. It's a bit laggy. But I've had it for coming on to 4 years now, so it served me quite well. I pretty much use this tablet only for stitching, although occasionally I do watch figure skating on it. I stream stuff off the CBC Sports app. Yeah, it's going to be the World Championships in a few weeks. Oops, that didn't work. I want that to disappear into the fabric there. Yeah, figure skating is like the only sport that I follow, so. Yeah, and as we're starting a new Olympic cycle, getting to see a lot more new faces, as a lot of the top skaters have now retired from competing. So I won't see Yuzuru Hanyu anymore. Unless you watch Stars on Ice or something. Yeah, that's understandable. The guy won 2 Olympic gold medals. He really didn't have anything left to prove. And competing is definitely hard on your body. Yeah, so we'll see if I get this all filled in this session or not. It's somewhat of a less confetti here, so we shall see. Okay, 3781. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm still not quite 100% over my cold. Like I've said, mine seem to last a long time. Settle into my sinuses and don't want to let go. Been using my Navage nasal rinse machine a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have a deviated septum too, which can make it harder for things to, you know, drain out properly. So, yeah. I mean, they said you can correct that surgically, but it's not bad enough for me to want to undergo surgery because, I mean, there's always risks, right? Even with the most routine procedures. So, yeah, I generally don't want to do it unless it's affecting my quality of life so badly that, yeah, it's worth it for me. Okay, a whole ton of little pieces here for this color. Might need to use a couple of them. We shall see. Yeah, this is not going to stretch for a third stitch. That's fine. I'll use up another small piece when I get to it. I said less confetti here, but there's almost always some. These full coverage pieces. Yeah, I had a bit more energy the other day than I paid for it. Actually had to take a nap in the afternoon because, like I said, it's still not recovered from this illness. And I'm someone who can't really nap generally. Unless I'm sick, so... Yeah, I have to be careful, too, not to push myself too hard because of chronic pain. I've got loose joints, so, yeah, I can very easily overdo it and really pay for it the next day. Okay, so now I'm kind of back up and working my way back down again. It's just sort of the way, pardon me, the colors go. Kind of follow them around. Okay, I may actually do the other color, other thread of this color here. This is not very long. So yeah, I'm gonna do these three I highlighted, and then I think one stitch in the next row below it, and that'll be it for this thread. Okay, 3, 3, 7, 1. so I think this is my last session of this month, so we didn't quite reach 50% since, yeah, I lost most of a week of stitching due to illness, so I would have definitely reached 50% if it hadn't been for that. So we'll see. And then next month, like I said, I'll be watching the World Championships of Figure Skating, so I'll lose probably a week there, so we'll see how much we get. I'm thinking I could reach the 2/3 mark. So 66.66%, yeah. I started this month at 33%, I think. So, I mean, that's still pretty good progress. Okay. Okay, 939. Okay, with multiple threads of this color attached, but that's okay. Probably be able to use them all up. Yeah, so I apologize if I'm still a little bit sniffly. I did use my Navage machine before I started filming, so hopefully I shouldn't be too bad. Because I'd need 24,000 stitches exactly to reach 50%. We're at 22,851. So yeah, I mean, that still gives me over 1,000 and a bit. So we'll see. Yeah, I've been finding lately I have sort of some energy in the morning, but then after lunch, I'm just done, unfortunately. I'm not tired enough to sleep, but just too tired to concentrate to really do anything except watch maybe some TV. Okay, so this is a thread we can end off. Oh, whoops. Silly me. I didn't do enough stitches of the bottom legs before I started crossing the top. That's okay. I can do that one now. Yeah. Told you I was having difficulty concentrating. Ugh. Brain fog. Okay, I'm just going to take a peek at this thread here. Okay, so that's a decent length. Okay. do something wrong here? Yeah, I parked that. Yeah, I parked that a stitch over from where it should have been. Pardon me. Yeah, it should have been right here. Good thing for grid lines. Okay. I'm going to juggle both threads, I think. I don't really feel like ending either one off yet. So yeah, what I do is I sort of do one row with each thread. I'll show you what I mean. For now, I could have ended one of them off, so actually I'm going to do this way. When I do these end symbol stitches, I can do a bunch in a row. Okay, again, I'm going to see how long these threads are. Right, that's a shorter one. Okay. Yes, that is a longer one. And I actually am going to, pardon me, I'm going to go outside of my guidelines and I'm going to do one stitch out of order because, yeah, avoiding it is kind of more trouble than it's worth. So, like I say, these aren't strict rules, they're guidelines. So, if I feel like breaking them, I will. Okay, so generally, when I do one out of order, I like to sort of fill in around it right away when I can. Just making sure I wasn't wrapping my working thread around one of my parked threads. Of course, sometimes I have to do some other colors around it too, which is just fine. Oops. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to fill that in, that little gap that I left. Okay, I'm going to park this over here. Might as well, it's close enough. Not bother ending it and restarting it again later. Okay. Wait for this thing to load. So, yeah, like I said, I skip around a bit sometimes. But still trying to not close in stitches when it's possible anyway. Yeah, and then I think when I reach the bottom of this diagonal, it may be time to move my frame again. I can get a picture of the whole thing. So working on Link's face, but actually I haven't really got any facial features yet. It's been his hair. It's been a tiny bit of his forehead, but that's about it. Okay. That color again. Oops. Yeah, considering that this is a Link, I've actually had less green in this pattern than I would have thought. It's been mostly dark blues and purples because of all the shadowy bits. Yeah, it's been kind of different in Breath of the Wild. He wears blue a lot of the time. Because, yeah, like in Ocarina of Time, his blue tunic was for the underwater. Yeah, my husband tried to defeat the water temple without the blue tunic once, and yeah, it was tough because you have a counter, and of course, it's time is dependent on how many full hearts you have. Yeah, I tried that for a while, and then he just said, okay, yeah, that's not happening. There's a funny glitch in the water temple in one of the passages when you float up. If you swim Link right into the corner, you can see right down his neck. His body's hollow. Is it the way the camera goes? Yeah, it was funny. Because, of course, yeah, they don't bother to render the inside of his body if you're not going to see it most of the time. But, yeah, with that glitch, you could kind of see it if you had it at just the right angle. Yeah, it's interesting. Or in Ocarina of Time, the invisible floor spikes, if you wore the red tunic, he can walk over them and not get hurt, because it must have the similar coating for because the red tunic is for heat, so you wear it in like the fire temple. Yeah, otherwise it's like the water temple. You can only last for a certain amount of time before you overheat. And yeah, so it must have the same damage code for the invisible floor spikes as it does for the heat. So yeah, well, they only have so many codes, right? So I guess they have to reuse it sometime, and we're hoping nobody would notice. Oh, pardon me. Okay, do another single stitch there. Get it done and out of the way. Yeah, so one thing I hate about confetti is it really slows you down when you have to retrieve the color just for one stitch. But, the detail makes it worth it in the long run. And also one thing I like with this method is I'm much less likely to miss any stitches. I find when I was stitching cross country, sometimes I missed stitches and didn't find them until the very end. And then I had the one that I finished mounting and then discovered I missed a stitch. Oh, I was not happy. It was in a dark color too, in the night sky. I did the bottom leg and I missed crossing the top leg on the way back. So my husband says it just kind of looks like an extra star in the night sky, but yeah, it annoys me. Because I know it's there and I know it was a mistake. So yeah, if I keep at my current pace, I may finish this project by summer. And then I'm planning to switch to the Marvelous Garden by Heaven and Earth Designs, the peacocks. Yeah, it was hard to pick one. There's so many beautiful peacock patterns. of my friends, she picked a different one that was even bigger. And one of the peacocks is white and one has color. Must be an albino peacock. Yeah, I've never seen that in real life. Okay. All right, now we can get more of a rhythm going. Although I say that, now I have to switch colors again. 3, 3, 6, 3. It's really twisted. Okay, so I put this through the fabric. I'm gonna drop that needle and let it untangle a bit. There, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna need 2 threads here. I can see. Yeah. So I could have taken this thread down here and done all these and come back up, but the thing is, this thread I'm stitching with is not very long, so it's really not worth doing that. Instead, I'm going to keep this thread and sort of do it for these stitches, and I'm going to do another thread for these ones over that are further to the left. Yeah, that's just what makes sense to me. Grabbing the wrong envelope there. I grabbed 3363 instead of 3362. Don't want to do that. There, now we're getting back into a bit more green here. I think this is the end of the tip of Link's hat, the main link, not Goron Link. Yeah, because This Goran Link's hat is already completed. This is the end of it peeking over his shoulder here. Oh dear. There we go. Okay. Oops. There we go. Yeah, like I said, some bigger blocks of color here, so it goes a little faster. So yeah, my last project that I finished, I got a gallery reward from RDC. Because if you're the first person to stitch up a pattern, yeah, they give you a reward for a credit towards your next pattern. But I've been holding on to it because I don't know what I want to get yet. There is one called, I think it's Moonrise, that's some wolves under the northern lights, which is tempting because I love both those things, wolves and northern lights, but we'll see. Yeah. the nice thing is it's like a gift certificate. It doesn't expire, so I can also hang on and wait and see what else they release. If there's something that catches my eye more, but I mean, I have enough patterns for a while. I got like the next 10 years of stitching planned out already. Yeah. Probably more than that, yeah. I have like the next 8 patterns already chosen and supplies bought for them, so yeah, I'm not gonna run out anytime soon, that's for sure. Okay, 38.15. Ah, perfect. Nice short piece here. Love when it works out that way. Yeah, plus I was debating between those 2 patterns of whether to get the regular or the large, because I mean the large, I did the large version for my last project. The Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility was a large, and detail was amazing, but yeah, it was big. It took a while, because yeah, the large ones are about 4 times the size of the regular size ones, because yeah, the regular size ones are about 60,000, and then the full size ones are like, you know, 225,000 was the last one. I was just 50 stitches under 225,000 stitches for the Soulful Mediterranean Tranquility, so yeah. I do have a fair amount of wall space, but it's not unlimited, you know. I will run out eventually, so there's that too. Big fluffy end coming up there. Actually, I was surprised that hadn't happened sooner. There's quite a few pin stitched ends here. Ouch. Ooh. Poked myself there. Whoops. Fortunately, not hard enough to break the skin. Pulling another thread from the back there. There we go. There. Yeah, it was really wrapped around it to unhook it there. Otherwise it would have made almost like a French knot on the front, which I do not want. Yeah, it's always the way I said, when I want to actually make French knots, I can't. Of course, I do full coverage now, so they don't really have call for French knots, but yeah, I was always hopeless at those. I could only make them unintentionally. That's the kind where you wrap it around the needle a few times and then pull it back down, basically where it came up, and it's supposed to leave a little decorative knot on the top. And yeah, if I was trying to do that, I couldn't do it. Like, because I was stitching a sampler once, and it was for the eyes for some gingerbread men, and I could not do it. It was just absolutely hopeless. My sister could do it on the first try. Like, she doesn't even stitch. Come on, that's not fair. Yeah, she tried to get into it for a little while when we were teenagers, but it never really, it wasn't a habit that she stuck with. But yeah, she was able to do this. So I always had to ask her to do the French knots for me because I was so hopeless at them. I don't know, beginner's luck or something, right? Yeah, it was funny because my husband introduced me to the Legend of Zelda with Ocarina of Time. And so we were playing, and we're in the first dungeon, and he says, okay, figure out how to get out of this room. So I'm looking at it, and, you know, your fairy tells you that, hey, you know, this torch looks like it was lit a while ago. I'm like, okay. So I pull out one of the deco sticks, I light it from the lit torch, and I light that torch, and it works. And he says, how the heck did you figure that out so fast? I said, well, last night I read the instruction book. The little insert that came with the thing about you can light deco sticks, and so it seemed kind of obvious to me that, you know, she's saying, oh, that torch was lit not too long ago, so why not light it and see what happens? He says, oh my gosh. He said, when I played this the first time, I was like hitting all the walls and trying to find a hidden button, and it was that simple. I said, well, see, that's why you read the directions. Yeah, we actually had the Master Quest version too, because we bought the GameCube when it came out, and the Twilight Princess, I think, came with it. So it was basically the Ocarina of Time, but the dungeons were different. Like, they were the same layout, but the puzzles were different. So they had more enemies in them, and yeah, like switches were in different places and doors were different and stuff like that. So I don't think I ever managed to pass it though. Or if I did, I missed a lot of secrets. I couldn't figure them all out. But yeah, it was pretty tough. And also because it was for the GameCube, so the controls were a little different, which was kind of confusing if you were used to playing with the N64 controller. Yeah, it took a bit of getting used to use a different style controller. So I probably should pull that out and try it again sometime. Yeah, it's good brain exercise, right? Puzzles. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the Tears of the Kingdom coming out, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't think we finished Skyward Sword yet. That one was a little tougher because it was for the Wii, and they also released it on the Switch, but again, the controllers are kind of cobbled together, right? So yeah, it's been a little tougher, but yeah, I have to say, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are still my favorites. I don't see anything unseating those from my favorite spots. Not for a while, anyway. Yeah, I do like the open world concept. That was one thing that kind of annoyed me in Ocarina of Time is Navi is always bothering you to go to the next part of the quest, and sometimes you want to do the side quests, right? And yeah, she's always bothering you. Like collecting all the golden spiders or getting the big sword. Not the master sword, but the big one that you need 2 hands to swing. Yeah, that was quite an involved one. Yeah, it was one you have to like get eye drops for the huge Goron at the top of the mountain. Yeah, for him to fix the broken sword so that it never breaks again. This thread is not going to last for the rest of these stitches, but that's okay. That's all I'm gonna get out of that strand. Coming on to 23,000 total done. Oops. Meant to highlight, not move. Okay, this is the one I said I was going to juggle both of these strands rather than ending one off. Yeah. So I'll do one row with one strand. Try not to stitch my guinea pig's fur in here. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up the other strand and do this row. Yeah, kind of diverges into two different paths lower down, so that actually works out pretty well that I have two strands here. So what I'm going to do, so I could have chosen to end one off and just work with one strand, and sometimes that is what I do, but as there's a fair number of stitches here with this color, I would probably be able to use up both strands, so I figure why bother ending one off just to add another one later. Okay, so then park that there, and then pick up this strand. Yeah. Just gonna move that out of my way. These four. Okay, I'm gonna mark that one there, and then this one. I'm going to jump a little and go down here. Oh, look at that. I passed the 23,000 total stitches. Ooh. Goodness, so many ends. Trying to come up from the wrong side. There we go. Okay. There, so I'm going to switch colors again. There we go. It's trying to tie itself into a knot. Oh, now on this side. Yeah, let's not do that. Oh, goodness. Not having luck today. Oops. Oh, goodness. There we go. It's kind of short to leave threaded, but I'll give it a try. All right, this one. End off after this one stitch. Okay, wow, we'll be past 200 stitches in this session. That's pretty good progress, I should say. Yeah, I usually don't make quite that many, but I guess this section went fairly quickly. Like to stop at exactly 200, but it's just not going to work out that way, so I'm just straight like that. Okay, so there we go. So yeah, it's a good stopping place. We're almost at 48%. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.